I used to feel a lack of purpose in my life for a long time, and all throughout my school years I wasn't able to see a way out. My friends did really well in school, they actually listened in class and got good grades. But I lacked interest in everything, and my future was a complete mystery to me. I had no idea what I wanted to do, who I wanted to become, or what I wanted to achieve. This lack of purpose for me eventually led to a bunch of problems like anxiety, depression, and an overall feeling of being cast astray, as if I was lost at sea. That is until I read Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Outwitting the Devil was written a year after the publication of Napoleon Hill's famous Think and Grow Rich book, which still actually stands as one of the best self-development books ever written. I remember the first time I picked up this book, it completely changed my life. Even today, it still sits comfortably in the top 5 books I've ever read, and it's always been something I go back to reading every now and again. Unlike Think and Grow Rich, Outwitting the Devil was considered too controversial for publication at the time by many people, including Napoleon Hill's wife, and it remained unpublished until 2011, long after Napoleon Hill's death. The book is mostly written as a Q&A between Napoleon Hill and the devil himself, who claims to influence 98% of the population. He claims to do this through 6 major fears: fear of poverty, fear of criticism, fear of ill health, fear of loss of love, fear of old age, and fear of death. I mean, ask yourself for a second, are any of these fears actually present in your life? Have any of these fears ever held you back from doing something which you know you should do? The devil claims this is from his doing. For me, when I was younger and I just finished school, I wanted to teach people the life-changing things I read in self-help books. However, at the time, the fear of criticism constantly held me back from taking action. Actions I knew were in the direction of my goals and dreams. I was worried what people would think of me. After all, who would listen to the quiet, weird kid who just reads books and has no experience of the real world? That was my rationalisation anyway. I wanted to please everyone to a point where I would stop myself from suggesting solutions to people who I saw struggling because I feared the way that they would react to me. The devil suggests that when we fear things, we hesitate, we procrastinate and we make excuses. We'll find any reason not to move ahead on something because of our fears. And when we let our fears get the better of us, we can easily begin to drift through the sea of life with no compass or direction. This is referred to in the book as the habit of drifting. Those who are stuck in the habit of drifting are referred to as drifters. Drifters allow themselves to be tossed around in life as a passenger, allowing external influences to dominate their minds and opinions. They actually lose the power to think and act independently, and almost become robotic. They go nowhere because they're not using their brains to think. Now, the devil claims to introduce people into the habit of drifting through various avenues. For example, early on in the book, the devil explains that the school system is built on the notion of creating drifters from an early age. Children are taught in schools not to use their minds, but rather to adopt the minds of others. Students are graded on the ability to memorise and regurgitate information, not on their ability to become free thinkers and unique problem solvers. I mean, think about it. What if there was a class in school which taught us how to think for ourselves, or a class which encouraged our individuality and uniqueness? How different do you think the world would be today? How many more Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs or Elon Musks would there be if we actually nurtured people's uniqueness and creativity and adopted this practice into modern society? But that's not the only thing. The devil then claims to influence us through various other substances like alcohol, which corrupts our power of independent thought, cigarettes, which breaks down our power of persistence, our endurance, and our ability to concentrate, and unhealthy foods as well, which the devil really says overworks our digestion organs, clogging up our bodies and making us slow and sluggish. He then suggests that neglecting to think independently, along with the use of substances like these, causes new habits to form. Bad habits. In fact, any habit which causes one to procrastinate or to put off reaching a definite decision leads to the habit of drifting. Over time, a drifter's bad habits begin to enter the subconscious mind, meaning drifters start to repeat these bad habits without even consciously being aware of it. If it's not fixed, these habits can even become permanent. This is what the devil calls the law of hypnotic rhythm, a law which works both ways depending on our habits. For example, if they're good, we're propelling towards our goals and dreams. However, if they're bad, we end up filled with regret on our deathbeds wondering where the hell the time went. So, we know the devil's tactics, but how do we outwit him? To put it simply, become a non-drifter. In the book, Napoleon Hill forces the devil to share everything with him, even the solutions of breaking free from his control. Now, the devil goes on to say, A non-drifter is described as someone who is always engaged in doing something definite, through some well-organised plan which is definite as well. Someone who never blames others for his or her mistakes. Someone who knows exactly what is wanted and is determined to get it, no matter how long it may take or what price must be paid. Someone whose mind is inspiration to all who come into contact with it, not a mind which has been influenced, a mind used for all purposes. How do you become a non-drifter? If you feel like a spectator in your life or you're just simply struggling with procrastination, there are 7 principles from the book which I found incredibly useful, which can be put into action straight away to help you stay on the track of a non-drifter, far away from the habit of drifting. 1. Definiteness of purpose. Choose a purpose, a big goal, a life mission, and move towards it relentlessly. When you do something with purpose, you do it with determination. When your activities have a purpose, you have an aim or intention in mind. 2. Mastery over self. Discipline equals freedom. Be sure to say yes to the things that serve you and have the will to say no to the things which don't. If you're driven by impulse and self-gratification all your life, you'll go nowhere, like a drifter. 3. Learning from adversity. Failures are just failures. We can either let them consume us, or we can use them as lessons for our next trials and tribulations. It's up to us. Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. 4. Controlling environmental influences. Remember, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Who you hang out with matters. The environment in which you work and live matters. Successful people surround themselves with other successful people. 5. Time. Time can make drifting and negativity permanent, but it can also make positivity and wisdom permanent. In an age of self-gratification and dopamine buttons in every app, it's easy to forget that the best things in life take time to manifest. 6. Harmony. In order for you to balance mental, spiritual and physical aspects of your life, you must be the main actor. Put yourself first in situations and don't try to please everyone. If you focus on trying to please everyone, you will lose sight of your own purpose and values. 7. Caution. Always act, but think before you act. Planning in advance is essential to becoming a non-drifter. Think about it. If a football team failed to plan before a game, how much more would it affect them out on the field? They'd probably lose, wouldn't they? Getting what you want from life requires positive thinking, a definite plan of action, and a clear purpose. By following these principles and making a conscious effort to implement as much of this into your life, you give yourself back the power to control your thought patterns and habits, the power to build a better life, the power of self-awareness, the ability to ignore or reject external influences which do not serve your purpose in life, the ability to think for yourself. Remember that your dominating thoughts attract, through a definite law of nature, by the shortest and most convenient route, their physical counterpart. Be careful what your thoughts dwell upon. Considering this book was written 80 years ago, I still think it carries a lot of weight, and it made me realise that although a lot has changed since then, people really haven't changed that much. Before I read this book, I used to think that motivation was the most important thing. I was wrong. Motivation is a feeling. Motivation comes and goes. I mean, it's great as a temporary push towards taking action, but I feel it is discipline which is key to living the life of a non-drifter. Discipline is forever if mastered, and it is discipline which eventually breaks down the barriers of old negative habits. The discipline of respecting yourself enough to saying no to the things which don't contribute towards your purpose, and the discipline of saying yes to the habits which propel you towards it, laying the foundation for new positive habits, and ultimately, a better, brighter future.